Now, will we see a change in the curriculum and certifications as well? Will it be more ACB focused?
We have heard that Anypoint Studio will be replaced by ACB in the near future. How does Salesforce planning on, creating a smooth transition?
Who are you trying to create controversy? Hello, everyone. We are back with a new video in a new format today. Shubham and I have been working to bring you all things MuleSoft. So if you're yet to subscribe to the channel, please make sure to do so. So today, we have a very special guest for you directly from San Francisco. Please welcome Dakota, who is a senior product manager working exclusively on the new MuleSoft IDE Anypoint code builder. Welcome, Dakota, to our channel. Would you care to introduce yourself to us?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the awesome introduction. I think you covered a lot of the highlights, but yeah, my name's Dakota Garcia. I'm one of the senior product managers working at Salesforce, specifically on the MuleSoft product area. I've been there probably 2.5 years now. And yeah, focused right now, my current project is Anypoint Code Builder, and super exciting to be working on sort of the next gen of MuleSoft's products. So yeah, happy to be here. Thank you.
How are you doing, Dakota?
Hanging in there. Happy it's the weekend. We have a long weekend here in the US, which is very rare. So
yeah.
No, same here, Dakota. We have a long weekend too here. We do celebrate Labor Day. I don't know why.
Okay. Yeah, interesting, but all right.
Yeah. But it's rare to have a long weekend in US. I understand that. It's not the same. We have a lot more than you.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
You should come here then.
I know. I need to. It's on my list. And yeah, I don't know. It's crazy how fast time flies. I was looking at prices like this summer and like they were so high. So yeah.
House prices, you mean?
No, just travel prices. Like to go anywhere, like airline tickets, hotels. It's just
it's crazy. After COVID, it's crazy how they increase the prices.
It felt like this summer was like the first summer everybody was back. It was like, okay, everybody's taking a trip this summer. All the people who have like pushed off travel for the past 2 or 3 years finally decided that this was the summer. So
true. Even for Dreamforce, we were looking for hotels, Dakota, like in the near vicinity, and everything was over $300. Super expensive.
It's unreal.
No, it's crazy.
How when do you guys get in?
11th.
Yeah, 11th. On 11th. Nice. We have a photo shoot for Mule people, for MuleSoft community on 11th, and starting from 12th till 15th, we have the conference for 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we are traveling to Napa with friends. Yeah.
Nice. Which wineries are you going to?
The one that you mentioned.
Okay, good. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Those wineries are great. Yeah. If you go to Robert Mondavi, that's like a staple. And their pours are like very generous. I remember I started with Robert Mondavi with some friends.
Right.
And it was like a tasting of like 4 glasses. And you get like a nice setting and you see what you're about to taste. And as we're tasting, the gentleman comes over and he's like, hey, we're actually out of this one. So I brought you this one. It was like, okay, cool. It's just like a substitution.
Right.
And then he's like, okay, because we didn't have that other one, here's this other glass that I brought for you.
Oh, wow.
And then like we're going through and he's like, okay, I'm about to go on lunch, but I wanted to like surprise you with this other one. And so he brings it. So we had like a 6 or 7 glass like tasting, and they were very generous pours. That was like the first one to start the day. And we're like, what are we getting ourselves into? Like,
I mean, you can't drive after, right?
Yeah, right. Oh man.
Oh,
yeah,
crazy.
Ubers are definitely the way to go, or shuttle, depending on how many people you have. I think if you go with enough people, you could split like a shuttle or a private driver to
Yes. I did look that up as well. It was a bit expensive, so what we decided that we're gonna go in a car. We are 4 people, so I'm hoping that everyone stays intact, nobody gets drunk, but that's not possible, I guess.
Yeah, no, you'll be fine. Especially like, I don't know. It'll be fine.
Nah, I hope.
Are you staying just in Napa, or are you going to Sonoma as well?
No, we are just there for 1 day, and we are flying back on Saturday.
Okay, then that'll be perfect. Yeah, if you're just staying in the Napa area, then it's a lot easier because you don't have to go very far. Some folks try to do like St. Helena or even Sonoma is like a good like 40-minute drive from Napa, even though like geographically they're so close together. Like you have to like go over a mountain and like across like a windy road, and it takes like 40 minutes to get there. So yeah,
crazy.
That's exciting stuff though.
Yeah, no, for sure, we are excited. 1 week to go. I guess 11th we are flying.
Yeah, next month.
Next month.
Yeah,
starting to get a little nervous.
Yeah, you're presenting, right?
Yeah, several sessions, and so like obviously we've been like just so busy trying to prep for GA for Anypoint Code Builder. So it's like lots of like internal presentations and internal work, getting things like approved from like legal and like UX and like going through all the sign-offs. So then now it's like all of a sudden like surprise, Dreamforce is here. Like the next 2 weeks, like figure out what's happening with the sessions. So yeah.
Cool. That's cool. So are you memorizing everything? You have a script ready for the event? No,
I'm still putting together the script, and then I'll start the memorization. Yeah.
Oh no.
It's usually how it goes. Like even though Dreamforce is like such a massive event, I think like it's always a scramble internally.
That's great.
Welcome.
That's great.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, so we can start with our set of questions that we have prepared.
Sure.
And it's not going to be like a question answer or Q&A. We're going to try to have a conversation along like the questions we have for you. So our very first question is, what is it like working at Salesforce? That's, I guess everyone wants to hear that. Tell us about your experience. What is the work environment? What is your background? What did you do before joining Salesforce? Everything.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's a great place to start. And I'm not biased or anything, but working at Salesforce is great. But yeah, to set the stage, I studied computer science in college. And knew always sort of that I wanted to go into technology, and was just fascinated with it as a kid, whether it was playing video games or working on the computer. I don't know what it was, but just always really did enjoyed it. So yeah, pursued computer science, and then I realized like, hey, maybe I don't want to be a developer. And it's nothing against developers. I just recognized that if it was a passion project of mine or something I was interested in, I could code for hours and hours and hours. But if it was like a homework assignment or something that I found boring, I was like, I am not interested in this like at all. And so, sort of as I was looking at my career prospects, I was like, man, what happens if I get caught in like a company doing something that I don't enjoy on a day-to-day basis, and I have to write code that's used by, tons of people, and I'm not like going to be at my best mentally or like just, working in general, I guess. So I was like, okay, I'm going to take the first technology job that came across my desk, and it was for a software support analyst was the job title. And I was like, okay, this sounds like interesting. Maybe I'll be doing some like database work or something like that. And it was for an enterprise tax company called Sovos. Still around today, fairly large company. They do tax and compliance reporting for, several different countries, and they're spread out globally. And it turned out that it was actually just like support help desk. And that was just me being like young and naive, but they were like, okay, here's the phone. Folks are going to call in. You're going to help them with questions. And I was like, man, like, I don't know. And honestly, I was not very good at it. I had a lot of empathy for folks, and I could like talk to them, but I would always want to like dive just way deeper into the issue of like, oh, they had this problem. Why does it work this way? How come it doesn't work this way? And then I would just spend way too much time on cases. And obviously, like folks who probably have worked support in the past, there's obviously metrics that are being tracked. How many cases are you closing? What's the close time? So yeah, honestly, like, oh, go ahead. Yeah,
I had a question. So was it like enterprise contacting you, or like individual folks contacting you about the software? They had some problems with the software.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was more the individual folks. They'd call in and say, hey, like I'm encountering this issue with my, day-to-day work. Help me solve it.
I know you did not want to be a developer, but this was way far from technology.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought too. I was like, man, maybe I messed up. I should look for something and go back to coding, because this is not great.
Did you have any like worst experience with a caller?
Oh man, there's one that sticks out in my mind just because it was so traumatizing. So I think it was my second week there, and there was this customer who's probably notorious for calling in quite a bit, and she was extremely knowledgeable about the industry itself and then about the product. So if she called in with an issue, then yeah, it was probably an issue. It was probably going to need like some development work to fix. It was going to be a bug. And I remember one of the folks for the company with Sovas was leaving. So there was like a goodbye or a farewell happy hour that was happening. And so most folks had left the office, and I was sort of stuck on the phones covering like the last hour of the day while everybody was like going and getting the happy hour started. And of course, this customer had called in and had like a pretty severe problem. And I think it was fairly time sensitive. And I said, look, like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm super new. Can I just take your information down, information about the problem? We'll have somebody get back to you tomorrow. Like, folks like have kind of already gone for the day. This customer goes, no, that's not okay.
It's not okay.
I need this problem solved now. And I'm not like getting off the phone until you can like help me with like a workaround. And I just obviously like 2 weeks into the job, just like panicking. And eventually like I like called, I was like, called the personal phone of somebody like there. I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't know what to do. Can you come back and like help me? And luckily they did. And yeah, we weren't able to get a resolution, but we were able to, you know, sort of like at least defer the problem to a future day and help her out for that particular issue. So yeah, that was the first one that stuck out.
How long was the duration though? More than 2 hours?
It probably was. It was probably like a 2 hour. And, you know, of course, like I'm trying to like poke around the software, and it's got to be a frustrating customer experience as well. Like, you know, you're calling in, you're frustrated, and like, here's this new guy on the phone, and like, you can't be transferred to somebody more knowledgeable because nobody's around. And so like, I'm just like clicking around in the software, like just trying to like, maybe I'll figure out something that, you know, this customer who's had years in the industry, like didn't already figure out. Like, no way, there's no shot that was going to happen. But yeah.
Yeah,
cool. That's great. So you started from there, and then how did you get into Salesforce?
Well, I kept growing at that company. So they said, okay, kind of suck at support, but you have a good personality, you have a good like rapport with the clients. Like, do you want to go into like implementation or like basically professional services and help to onboard and train customers? I was like, oh, that sounds like a way better deal, right? Like, people are calling in and you get to pitch basically the value of the product and help train them. Be like, look at all the problems I'm solving for you and your business. Like, isn't this great? And like, you have like an hour to do so, versus, you know, somebody's always complaining about a problem. It was more of like a negative mindset. So anyways, I moved into implementation, professional services, started training customers, and we were pretty short staffed in the product area for a while. And so, you know, after you onboard enough clients and then having worked in support as well, you kind of get an idea of like, man, there's all these things wrong with the product. And of course the PM, you know, I'm young and naive in my career. He's like, hey, why don't you come into some of the Scrum meetings and like write down, like, here's this program called Jira. Why don't you know, here's how you like create an issue. So go in here and like create it and like reproduce everything that you want to change. And then I'll have you like present to the development team. I was like, oh man, this is great. Like, I get to help change the product. And really I was working just as like a PM without the pay and without the title, like a junior PM. And but he showed me the ropes, and like that's when I really learned about product management as a career. And eventually him and I had like a fairly close just relationship, and we worked well together. And so when there was an opportunity to open up on a different product line with the same company, he said, great, let's both make the jump to enterprise. Like, I'll make the jump, and then I want Dakota as well to come with me as sort of an associate product manager. And that's how I got my start in product management. It was just sort of an amazing hybrid of everything I was looking for in a career without that I just didn't know existed, I guess. You know, I was like, I'm not skilled enough to be a developer. I'm not skilled enough to be a designer, but I have all these ideas that are going on in my head. And then with product management, it's like, oh, great. Like, if I can articulate them and I can document them and I can give like sort of an idea of where I want the product to go, I can then hand those, you know, delegate those harder tasks out to like the more technical folks. And then to see it come to life was awesome. So just found a passion for it and just continued my career progression there, and eventually decided it was time for a change. And I had known somebody that had gone and worked for Salesforce my engineering manager from, like a year or two back at that company. So I asked him, I was like, hey, I saw this product role at Salesforce. How do you like it? Could you give me a referral? And he was like, yeah. And so he referred me, and that at least got me into the interview pipeline. I didn't end up getting that role, but I'd say, yeah, the Salesforce recruiting system's awesome. Like, I think once you talk to a recruiter there, if there's, at least in my experience with my recruiter, like he was awesome at just sort of talking to me, my background, what I had knowledge about. And through those discussions, he was like, okay, great. Like, I don't know if this, PM career on this particular cloud is going to be a good fit, but like, I have this other stuff over here with MuleSoft. You have a very technical background. You've dealt with APIs, things like that. Like, here, we're hiring over in this area. Would you be interested? I was like, sure. And so I think, yeah, the openness to, I think, being willing to pivot around also helped. But yeah, that's how I got started. Eventually, yeah, I went through several rounds of interviews and got hired on, and I started out working on MuleSoft Composer. So I was building out connectors for Composer, and then eventually that's how I got started. Eventually moved over to ACB.
You did work on Composer as well.
I did work on what?
Composer as well.
Yeah. So probably the first year and a half of my career journey at Salesforce was spent on Composer. And that's what I got hired on for initially as well, was a PM on Composer. And yeah, I remember jumping on Composer thinking, wow, it's like way different. Like, rather than building integrations for, one business solving one business's sets of challenges, like, we really have to make this generic, right? Like, folks are going to use Composer to solve endless number of use cases across businesses. And so that was sort of a shift in my mindset that I had to change.
Cool.
Yeah. And I took the Anypoint fundamentals course, I think like a month after joining. It was like a 5-day crash course into Studio. And I remember thinking, oh, wow, I'm so glad that I'm not working on this product, because like, this is so technical. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Like, thank goodness I'm on Composer. And so it's just funny to look back, and now I'm working on ACB, and it's like, oh man, like, I'm right back into it. And I remember being so scared of this this product initially.
Yeah.
So you joined in 2021, right? So it's been 2 years.
Yeah,
already?
2021. Yeah, COVID hire. That was interesting. Yeah.
How was the process? So like, you worked from home for a couple of years, or were you going to the office?
Yeah, good question. So originally from Colorado, that's where I worked historically. And then when I joined Salesforce, they said, okay, MuleSoft's primarily based out of Seattle and San Francisco. So come on out, you can go to either place. And it was like, okay. So I picked Sunshine and I chose California. And yeah, for probably, I got like an awesome deal on like an apartment in the middle of the city, like 2 blocks away from the Salesforce Tower, and thought, man, this is going to be great. Like, when we go into the office, it's going to be a 10-minute walk. And of course, for like the first year that I was there, like, it was like nobody's going into the office. I think I went in maybe 10 times over the course of a year. But now slowly more and more folks are starting to go back in. And of course, I've already left the city, so now I'm further away, but going into the office more. But it was interesting. I think the onboarding process was something that a lot of companies struggled with. Anybody who got hired during COVID, I think, can probably relate to the idea of having to onboard and learn things from a screen and schedule meetings to transfer knowledge and try to ramp up. It's one of those things that I don't think translates well to remote work.
True.
So but I mean, Salesforce did as best as they could, and
for sure.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
It was just interesting.
MuleSoft was a separate entity, right? Before. So, and after the acquisition of MuleSoft into Salesforce, were you there when the acquisition really happened? You were not part of MuleSoft, right?
Yeah, not yet. No.
Okay. And like, you joined in 2021. I guess the acquisition happened in 2020. Was there any difference in terms of like, people looking at you, or you're a MuleSoft guy, you're not a Salesforce guy, or
definitely
any bias or something? Just
I think so. Yeah. No, it's a great question. I'd say with these large enterprise companies, that the time for change to happen takes a lot longer. And it was something I'd kind of experienced at my last company. It wasn't necessarily the product I worked on was an acquisition. And so during my time at Sovos, I got to see, sort of how a company goes from like operating as a as basically a separate business under like this umbrella, but nothing really changes. Ultimately, I think it's inevitable to be like, okay, now we're going to like integrate you into like the product portfolio. And I've seen very like similar things happen with MuleSoft during my time here. Granted, it's only been like 2.5 years, but we went from having, you know, like MuleSoft at MuleSoft.com email addresses to now at Salesforce.com. And I mean, both will still work, but like now the Salesforce.com is a lot more of like the default. And there's a lot more collaboration between the different clouds and making sure that, you know, you don't necessarily just have to know about the MuleSoft ecosystem, but now you have to understand sort of like Sales Cloud and Marketing Cloud and Service Cloud and some of these other areas that maybe weren't as, I don't want to say not as important, but just they weren't the focus historically. It was like, okay, like just focus on like the MuleSoft products, Runtime Manager, Studio, like governance, how do all of these fit together? And then sort of expanding that out now to more Salesforce, I guess, centric use cases.
Are you training more towards learning more of the Salesforce clouds than Salesforce products now? Because I think in future they'll want to integrate more of both of them together.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I'd say like understanding the clouds first and sort of the product second is where we're headed. And that's kind of been the focus of like, okay, what is no different than MuleSoft? It's like, what does Sales Cloud even do? Right? Like what are the use cases? Why are people buying this? And maybe Sales Cloud is a bad example. It's been around for a while. I think people know Sales Cloud, but you start looking at some of these other ones and then once you understand the use cases, especially with MuleSoft, I think the whole thing, and I'm sure any folks who work with MuleSoft can say the same thing. We're all about integrations. We're all about connectivity. So it's like, let me understand your use cases. Let me understand how your products work, because then like I have the connectivity piece up here. Like I already know that with MuleSoft. So then I can already start to solve the problems and the challenges with the different products. Like, oh, okay, you're using maybe Sales Cloud to track like sales order data. And then you want to get it into your accounting system once you've generated like a quote. So it needs to go over to like NetSuite or SAP or something along those lines. And then you're already solving the connectivity problems like in your head, I think, when you work with MuleSoft and building those stories together.
True.
So do you think, or do you see yourself transitioning to more of a Salesforce product PM?
I don't think so.
No?
You like MuleSoft.
You like MuleSoft.
I like MuleSoft, yeah. I think it's working at MuleSoft, like you're solving a different set of challenges every day. And I think connectivity, APIs, connectivities in general will continue to be such a focal point for a lot of businesses. Automation just in general and being able to connect your systems. I think that we went through an interesting time in the industry where folks said, I want to build everything in-house. And they said like, okay, like tools like, I don't know, say Jira exists or ERP systems exist, but I'm not going to buy those. I'm going to try and do everything in like my one system and like customize.
Spring Boot or something.
Exactly. And then everybody realized like, wow, this takes a lot more money and like offers a way worse experience. So like I am going to pay for all of these sort of like best in class solutions in their different areas. And then now we're solving the integration piece. So
absolutely.
And so I like it on MuleSoft. I don't know. And it's cool having the opportunity to work on something new. I think that's something I personally enjoy. If I went to some place like Sales Cloud or Service Cloud, I mean, those clouds have been around for a long time, and some of those products, I don't know how much innovation I would get to work on. That's not to say they're not innovating, but like working on like a net new product like ACB is just super exciting.
Oh yeah, they're already sophisticated products, and it's always, I guess, better to work on something new rather than that is something already built. Talking about something new, as we know, you're working on Anypoint Code Builder, which is the new IDE, the newest and the greatest for MuleSoft, right? What are the future plans for ACB? We have heard that Anypoint Studio will be replaced by ACB in the near future. How does Salesforce planning on creating a smooth transition?
Who are you trying to create controversy?
No. Just ask us.
Like, put me on the spot. I'd say we definitely recognize the need for both IDEs to exist. and our commitment to having a smooth transition for folks is unshakable. That is like priority one. We never want folks to feel like shoehorned into a solution that doesn't work well for them, their business, their use cases.
Makes sense.
So we anticipate, at least a couple of years where both IDEs will continue to exist simultaneously over that couple of years. Hopefully the feature gap between the two products will shrink and shrink and shrink, and folks will find that they're switching back to Studio less of the time.
Right.
We want folks to jump into ACB, try it out, but like I think at this point, we're realistic in saying like, okay, we're not going to be able to do everything. Like we don't support M unit tests right now. If you need M unit tests, okay, switch back to Studio. We'll make that process easy. You can take your jar file, import it into Studio, and continue working there. And the whole goal is over the next couple of years, like, okay, let's have those use cases shrink down so folks are switching back less frequently. And then after that, obviously, we'll announce. We know that Anypoint Code Builder will be the IDE of the future for MuleSoft. So at some point, we will announce the end of life for Studio. It will eventually go away. So yeah, both will exist. If you continue to use Studio and you like Studio, you're familiar with it, that's no worries. And the whole goal with ACB design too is to take those foundational components and concepts that exist in Studio and like just port them to a more modern native VS Code interface.
True.
So things like data weave will continue to exist in ACB. Things like MUnit and the different core processors that you might use on your day-to-day. The idea and the concept of building flows, all that transfers over. So if you take a fundamentals course or a training or you get certified, like it's not going to be this massive leap to go from Studio to ACB.
Right. No, that makes sense.
Moving on, I know it's like we're not talking about it, but just a random question. So now, will we see a change in the curriculum and certifications as well? Will it be more ACB focused? Because right now we do have a lot of hands-on and DIYs on the Studio, but now we also want it to be integrated with ACB. So how can folks see like it changing?
Definitely. Yeah. I think that will eventually be the focus of the trainings and the certifications. I don't think we're there yet, but it is something that we're working with the training and the content team on. That's something we'll continue to work with them on. And as those sort of like feature gaps start to close in ACB, we'll start to see a lot more of our materials that we're creating, whether that's training modules or certification courses, things like that will eventually like shift over to use ACB as the platform. But I don't think we're there yet. I think we want to be like we can solve end-to-end journeys for every certification use case that MuleSoft would offer before we transition over.
So we can see an ACB specific curriculum or self-paced course just to have more understanding on ACB for folks who do not want to just explore themselves.
That for sure. So being that we're more part of the Salesforce ecosystem now, I think we're definitely going to be putting out some things like Trailhead modules for folks who are familiar with like Salesforce Learning Platform that's typically done via Trailhead. But just making sure that there are a lot of courses and materials out there where folks can self-serve to learn about ACB and sort of get their start in that product. Even if they don't want to go through like the full fundamentals or certification, which would use Studio. But in the meantime, like until we switch all the certification courses over, there will be plenty of ACB content.
That's cool to hear. Because I tried ACB, and one thing that I noticed from the start that, it's such a powerful extension basically on Visual Studio, and Visual Studio is language agnostic, right?
Yeah.
You can use Python, you can use Java, and for developers who are not into MuleSoft, they can also use ACB and play around with it. I guess that's the whole plan, right? Like, so other developers from, let's say, .NET, PHP, Java, they come to MuleSoft and they see the power of automation, and how you can make your code more reliable, secure, in such a, fast pace. Rather than taking 3 or 4 months in building an API, you can just do that in 2 weeks.
Exactly.
That is something that was great to see, the Visual Studio extension and everything. So kudos to you guys.
Thanks.
So aren't we doing a platform independency in terms of ACB for desktop, because it's an extension on Visual Studio, but then we have a whole interface online. So aren't we supposed to like moving towards that where we don't have to download bulky softwares anymore? Now you already have that. I think every developer has it on their system, and then you can just import these packages, easier to move and transition and switch between languages.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's exactly what we're targeting. That was a huge focus for us. Like Studios, it's its own dedicated program.
Right.
You sort of go online, you fill out the contact form, you get like an installer. And with ACB and where the industry has gone in general, that idea has sort of gone away. It's more about how can we leverage those best-in-class tools, which Visual Studio Code is. I think all the surveys, all the data is saying, okay, VS Code is like the preferred, sort of environment for developers to work in. And it's like, okay, well, how does that work? Let's get into the extensions, right? And let's see if we could do something here, because then developers can continue using whatever extensions they're familiar with.
Right.
And we're sort of like a supplement that's built onto the platform they're already used to working with. And sort of that's been like the huge highlight, I think, talking with folks now that we have the extension pack out there on the marketplaces. I was using VS Code for all of my other workflows. And MuleSoft was like the only thing that sort of existed outside of that ecosystem. So now that you've like given me this extension pack, great. Like now I can like live in one tool, which is where I want to be. So the reception's been great. And like the whole goal is, to offer, just offer a lightweight solution in some place that you're already familiar with.
Well, that's great. That's great. I think MuleSoft or Salesforce, I would say, is light years ahead in terms of, the product delivery, the sophistication that they brings with the product. It's awesome. It's awesome to see. So talking about AI, right? It's a huge hot topic in the market after Chatgpt. Chatgpt, sorry, not GTP, sorry. Chatgpt, and everyone is talking about AI. A lot of people don't even know the difference between bots and AI, but everyone says that, AI is the next big thing. And we saw Einstein GPT, right? In TDX, I guess. I was there. Yeah, I was there as well. You were there. Everyone were there. And it looked very promising. So are we planning to use AI with MuleSoft? I guess you guys already started, right? Using AI, trying to integrate AI with ACB, or not?
Yeah, definitely. I don't want to give too many spoilers away.
For sure.
But we definitely have plans. And using generative AI to help developers with their workflows is something that's top of mind, something we're currently working on, something that we're excited to show off in or at Dreamforce. And I think just in general, the whole goal of being able to say, like, I have a use case in my mind, right? Like, I want to take that opportunity from Salesforce and convert it to a NetSuite sales order.
Right.
It'd be great just to describe that, right? Like, just, hey, do this for me. I already and maybe you have to configure your connection credentials, but man, wouldn't it be great like if the transforms were done, or like all of the components were automatically inserted, the dependencies were pulled in automatically, like the connectors downloaded. I think it's taking that idea of templates, accelerators, things that like already are out there, but like just making it more interactive with the user, more tailored to what the user wants.
Right.
So I think it'll take some time for us to complete that whole visionary use case. But AI is right around the corner. It's a hot topic, like you mentioned, in the industry. Everybody's sort of jumping on it, and we want to make sure that we're doing it in a way that is a good experience for users, that is very sensitive to their data and their security requirements, and making sure that, we just offer a great AI solution. I think what we don't want to have happen is like we come out with a feature that nobody uses. So I mean, like, if the AI is creating more work and more of a headache, then it's not, folks just aren't going to use it. So we want to avoid something like that. So we're definitely taking it incrementally. We're gathering feedback, and we'll show off some exciting stuff at Dreamforce. So,
that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
we're not far away. 1 week.
Are you speaking at Dreamforce multiple sessions?
Yeah, tons. Personally, I'm speaking, I think, at 3 different sessions. 2 of them are workshop sessions. So if folks want to get hands-on with ACB and sort of have me like lead them through a course or a mock scenario, like definitely feel free to attend. So that's 2 sessions. And then I'm actually doing a panel session where we're going to have some of our partners and a customer sort of talk about their experience with ACB and things like that. So those are the sessions I'm leading. But the PM team here at MuleSoft and on ACB specifically, I have so many colleagues, Simone Guy, Mofi, like they're all going to have their own sessions as well, dedicated to ACB, dedicated towards AI. Like I know Mofi has sort of been leading the AI initiative. And so I highly recommend attending any of her sessions at Dreamforce because they're all going to be sort of AI centric. So if that's the use cases that interest you, yeah, definitely go to those. And then of course, like, yeah, my sessions as well. We'll touch on AI a little bit, but there'll be more like generic overview sessions of like, here's ACB as a product and here's how to like leverage it for your business. So yeah, lots of content coming out. I think some of it's going to be streamed on Salesforce Plus. We have sessions that are happening multiple times. So if you missed the first one, it's just going to be a jam-packed week at Dreamforce. Lots of ACB content.
That's cool. That's cool.
So we can look forward for the special announcements with ACB collaborating, AI, etc., etc.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, no spoilers though. Yeah, but
yeah,
let's wait. Yeah, let's wait.
Yeah,
no, that's great.
That.
No, that's great. And you're speaking on 3 days or just 1 day?
So I'll be staffing the Anypoint Code Builder demo booth. I think that's sort of in the campground. That's on day 1. Then we have a workshop session on the 2nd day. And then on the 3rd day, we have a workshop session and then that panel that I was mentioning on the 3rd day. So yeah, each day is super full, but looking forward to it. Looking forward to just chatting with folks, introducing them to ACB. And I think that's what's interesting about sort of embracing more of the Salesforce ecosystem is things like Dreamforce, right? You have the opportunity to sort of network with a lot of Salesforce developers, a lot of Salesforce admins who maybe are dealing with these same sort of integration and automation challenges in their day-to-day workflows, but they don't know that like MuleSoft exists and that it's a Salesforce product and that like we like work with Salesforce use cases quite a bit. And so it's a great opportunity just to sort of introduce them to like this whole other product under the Salesforce umbrella.
Right. No, for sure. I think it's going to be bigger than the previous Dreamforce. MuleSoft, just the MuleSoft part, because a lot of people didn't know MuleSoft, but now I think everyone is aware how important integration is to integrate your systems and everything, because there are problems people are facing, right? There are multiple systems, multiple data formats. They don't know how to, integrate them. They have like a legacy system they want to integrate with, and MuleSoft provides solutions to that problem. So that is something I guess people should be aware of, and I guess Salesforce is doing a great job highlighting that.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Great. Talking about Salesforce, I wanted to talk about Salesforce Tower specifically.
Okay.
At Salesforce at San Francisco. I think I've heard like it's one of the tallest buildings we have in San Francisco. Is that true?
Yeah, it's the tallest building in San Francisco, and I think it's the tallest building west of the Mississippi. That needs a fact check, but I'm pretty sure that it is like not just California in general, but it's the tallest building west of some point in the U.S. So basically, outside of all those super tall buildings in like New York and Chicago, it's one of the tallest.
Wow. How is it like to work there?
It's awesome. It's a very beautiful tower. I think that if you have the opportunity to go, a Salesforce employee, something like that, definitely ask if they can take you up, because
I mean, we know you.
Yeah, exactly. I'd love to give you folks a tour. It's beautiful. I think every Salesforce tower, no matter what city we're in, we try to get the top floor, and it's called the Ohana floor. And it's a social space. So it's for employees, for guests, for events, things like that. And it's really meant to be just like a collaborative environment that showcases the view of the city as well. So going up to the top floor of the Salesforce Tower, you'll have floor to ceiling windows all around the tower. And being the tallest point in any city, I think is crazy to be able to look down and say, wow, we're above everything. So it's great. There's some coffee up there and some treats. So it's a great experience. So
nice. Oh, that's cool.
That's cool. I had a question. What makes Salesforce? Like, what culture is motivating everyone to pursue to the heights they are at, and even do better? Because we see Salesforce is going to become a $1 trillion industry soon, and everybody knows it. But how is it that big of an ecosystem?
Yeah, I think we're focused. I think one of our taglines is we're a customer company, or it's something along those lines. And it's so true. I think everything that we do, sort of from that mindset, trickles down into the day-to-day products, understanding who our customers are, what problems we're trying to solve, and how we can help them, sort of make their lives easier, more productive, allow them to focus on what they want to focus on. I think that's one of the best ways to grow, right? Whether that's in the sales space, the service space, the integration space. If you focus on the gaps and the holes in the market, and then tailor your products around the customers that you're trying to solve, like it's great. So I think having that customer-centric view is sort of the common goal that everybody's working towards. And I'd say Salesforce is one of the most collaborative cultures that I've been a part of. Granted, my industry experience isn't vast. I know there's folks out there who have decades of experience in the integration space, but just from a personal experience, from the day I joined until now, everybody's just so collaborative, so willing to work together. And I think we all understand that we are all like parts of a bigger picture. We have things like Mule Runtime, Data Weave, Studio. All of those have to work so seamlessly together. And so that collaboration becomes just a key focus, and everybody's great. Yeah, I think the work environment is great, the collaboration is great, and that just contributes to better products, I think.
No, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
That's great. Great. How do we have fun at Dreamforce? I had that question prepared.
Very important question.
Yes. Yes.
So
go for it.
Talk to us about everything. I think Salesforce, they work hard and they party harder, I believe.
Yes.
So if you can elaborate a bit on that, and how can we have fun in general at Dreamforce?
Yeah, for sure. I'd say first off, making connections is huge. Sort of coming out of comfort zones and mingling with people, sitting with different people at lunch, understanding what they do, where they work, where they come from. That's the starting point.
Exactly.
And from there, I think you'll find that there are a lot of happy hours and events that get scheduled after the fact. I don't know if there's any Salesforce specific ones. I feel like most Salesforce employees and stuff are busy cramming for their session the next day. So, but usually the last night of Dreamforce is a ton of fun. First off, go to the concert. The concerts are great every year. Even if it's not a band that you enjoy, I'd say find some folks that you like to hang around with, and eat some good food and go to the concert, and it'll be just an amazing experience.
You know who's coming at this concert?
Foo Fighters.
Oh,
yeah, Foo Fighters. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So it should be exciting. I think this year it's at the Chase Center instead of at the baseball stadium. So that'll be exciting just to see how that experience is. I think it'll be a little bit smaller, or I guess more intimate of a setting, I guess, versus the baseball stadium, which is just massive.
Yeah.
I think last year we had Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
Well, for Dreamforce, I think was the one. Starting to lose track. But so concert is number one thing. Number two is to mingle, find people, especially folks like in the industry who are with companies who are hosting happy hours, and that's a great way to go out. I think I was just like Googling the other day, like the dates for Dreamforce and like some of the sessions, and like a couple of the first things that popped up on Google were, X company's happy hour at this restaurant or at this bar. So I'd say just talking to folks, you'll find things to do. But it all starts with making those connections, going to the concert, and you'll have just a ton of fun. I think Salesforce is the city, San Francisco as the city, and then Salesforce as a company really leans into this just being a huge opportunity for folks to come together, to collaborate, to just have fun together. And so, lots of restaurants, bars around the city. They'll all be very receptive. And San Francisco's super unique, super great. There's tons of very unique places to go to enjoy a cocktail or to food. The food scene's unreal. So don't be afraid to get out and explore a little bit. I'm not going to give away any of my good spots. But,
we know some. We know some.
Yes,
we know some. Yeah, we know.
Good. Yeah.
No, for sure. Perfect.
But I think I want to say that for those who are a little bit of introverts and still coming to Dreamforce, they can just directly register to the happy hours of the company. They're all listed on the website, so they don't have to, be scared of interacting. It's okay to, be shy, but also just try to be engaged with these events and, talk to people. Because I do see, we haven't been to Dreamforce, but when we went to the TDX and we saw the smaller version of Dreamforce, I personally felt there were all kinds of people who were super centric, work centric, and people who were just there to have fun. We were, I think, just there to have fun. But and it's when people are more work centric, it's difficult to make those connections and be able to talk to people and speak about it and find the good spots and the happy hours happening. So you can always just go and Google it. You'll find tons of it, and just don't be afraid to say hi. We'll do the rest of the talking.
Exactly. And that's a great point. I think folks like Dreamforce is so massive that it really takes over the city. So even if you haven't made any connections throughout the day, you're a little bit more introverted, and you look online and say, man, I really want to try out this spot for a cocktail or this restaurant. Odds are you're going to run into a ton of people from the conference there. And what a great conversation starter of you walk in and, you're at the bar and you have a drink and you're not sure how to kick things off with people. And you'll see the Dreamforce badges or, folks look like they have just come from a conference. And it's like, oh, hey, were you at Dreamforce? What did you think of today's sessions, or what sessions did you go to today? And it's just a natural sort of kickoff for conversations, getting to know people. So I'd say don't be afraid to explore the city a little bit and go to some place that interests you, and you might run into some people that you can connect with.
For sure.
Yep, absolutely.
That's great. No, definitely. I don't have any questions left, Smith. If you have anything, feel free to ask now.
No, I do not have questions. I would request Dakota to just give us one more time the details of this session so we make sure that we attend it.
Yes.
And then, just if you see us at the Dreamforce, come and say hi, all three of us. We're just there to make everyone feel comfortable.
Definitely.
If you have any. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure that we're gonna put the links of your sessions in our video, Dakota.
Yeah.
Just so everyone can attend and make sure that you have full house for your sessions.
Awesome.
And,
thank you.
Yeah, definitely we're gonna do that.
I'll flip the question around. What about you guys? What sessions are you presenting at?
Is you wanna go ahead?
Yeah, sure. I was just about to say that all this, we both are a part of MuleSoft community, and we have been for a while now. We get all the insiders, scoop, and the hush things that Dakota is saying, we already know about it. So if you really want to know, be the first ones. Always, just come and say hi. Even you can contact us on LinkedIn. Be a part of MuleSoft community, because we, Shivam and I, are presenting a session on it. We are presenting how you can thrive with MuleSoft community, how irrespective of what nature you are of, you can, make friends, make connections through different mediums, and, collaborate and contribute to the society, to the community that we've built here. MuleSoft community, it's a wonderful community. And Shivam, do you want to add something to that?
Yeah, so our tagline that we're using for this session is, we're trying to alleviate our geek solitude. Because IT world can be lonely, right? And if you have sort of community to hang around, share your problems, it's always fun, I feel. And then we have events, we have meetups where you actually get to interact with a lot of people over a drink or food. That's who doesn't want that, right? So that's our session. We are going to try to make sure that everyone understands what MuleSoft community brings and how you can get involved in the community. So that's pretty much the gist of it. We don't want to give any spoilers. You have to attend the session. Yeah, definitely.
Nice. True. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I will do my best to attend as well. I think I made sure to shuffle things around so I could. So I'm looking forward to it.
Do you have anything else, Ismi? I think I got everything covered. Dakota, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you want to ask anything,
Yeah, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but what's coming up for the channel? I know this has been super exciting. I personally enjoyed all of the Data Weave videos. I think that is like an area that I was struggling with. So seeing sort of a multi-part series was just awesome to watch. So yeah, I was curious if you had any future ideas that maybe you could share with me here.
We do have some things in the pipeline, some things brewing. First of all, this is a new format that we're trying. So we will try to post more podcasts where we can just interact with fun people, community, Mules, and discuss and just convey our ideas and make the world more happy place. Then we are also planning to explore new products. That's what we've been. That's our 101 for the channel.
Nice.
And you can look forward to more new videos on ACB, RPA, Composer, and who knows, something new, something more interesting is coming, which we cannot just yet say. But and yes, for sure, please stay tuned for Dreamforce recap. We will be doing we will be capturing the whole Dreamforce, posting it for people who cannot attend it in person, so that you do not miss out on the fun part. You know how fun it is, how Salesforce plays harder.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. No, the idea, I just wanted to add what Ismi said. The idea behind, creating this channel was to make sure we make people understand the technical aspect of, what MuleSoft is, how you can work on MuleSoft, how you can build APIs, but also how you can have fun at the same time. Because I know we are all technical people and we are not boring, right? That's what I want, and Ismi wants to pitch out to people, that technical people are not just boring people. We can be fun too. And that's the gist, and that's the idea of, this channel. And hopefully we're going to bring new vlog videos, for sure, recap of Dreamforce, and technical videos at the same time as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, that's such a great point to touch on too, of just bringing together everybody in the sense of community. You're totally right that, it can be a very lonely environment. And I can't tell you how many organizations that, I work with that have 1 or 2, maybe 3 MuleSoft developers, or just very, very small teams. And those folks can feel so isolated. So the idea of the MuleSoft community, YouTube channels like this, meetups, like it just helps bring together people who have a similar problems, similar day-to-day experiences, and allows them that outlet to socialize and sort of have fun at the same time, like you were mentioning. So what you folks are doing here with this channel is fantastic. And very honored to be a part of it. So
my honor is all ours. Dakota, thank you so much for joining this video, and stay tuned for more content like this. We're gonna bring more Salesforce people. Hopefully after watching this video, people want to work with us. Let's see how it goes. And thank you so much, Dakota. Thank you so much for joining this video, and stay tuned for more.